Today is Thursday, February 14th. We're talking about everything from the border wall to espionage to space, plus an Instagram bug and $1 million mansion for $19. Then hang out after the news for Thing to Know Thursday's bonus interview. We're talking dating and marriage trends for Valentine's Day. Welcome to the Newsworthy. All the day's news in less than 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Today, lawmakers in the Senate and then the House are expected to vote on the border deal. It looks like President Trump just might sign it. If all of that happens before the weekend, it'll avoid another government shutdown and fund the government until September. But at this point, it's a big maybe. President Trump has made it clear he's not happy with the deal, and some lawmakers still say they have not had a chance to fully read the details. Remember, what we know so far is that negotiators from both parties agreed on $1.4 billion for 55 miles of border fencing, which is a lot less than Trump had asked for. So we'll see how the votes go today and see if a deal can be made before midnight on Friday. That's when another government shutdown could begin. A former Air Force intelligence specialist is accused of spying on the U.S. for Iran and revealing highly classified information. CBS News reports Monica Witt allegedly defected to Iran in 2013. The Justice Department says she gave the Iranian government information about a secret program and ID'd another U.S. officer and more. She may be indicted, but she's not caught. Officials think she's still in Iran. Several women are accusing singer-songwriter Ryan Adams of sexual harassment and emotional abuse. And the women accusing him include his ex-wife, singer and actress Mandy Moore, who now stars in the series This Is Us. Moore and 6 other women told the New York Times Adams is manipulative and obsessive. They say he would offer to help their careers, then pursue the young girls and retaliate if they said no. One says she was just 14 years old at the time. Adams' lawyer says he never did anything inappropriate with anyone he knew was underage. Adams tweeted that he's sorry to quote anyone I ever hurt, however unintentionally. The community of Parkland, Florida is mourning and reflecting today. Today marks 1 year since the shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. 17 students and staff members were killed and more than a dozen injured. The gunman is still awaiting trial. NPR reports the school will be open for half the day and students can choose to serve breakfast to first responders. Near the school, a ceremony will be held to honor the victims. Over the last year, many survivors have been fighting for stricter gun laws in the U.S., and some even started the March for Our Lives movement. Another gun control advocate and former astronaut says he's running for Senate in 2020. You might remember Mark Kelly. His wife is former Representative Gabrielle Giffords, who was shot during a meet and greet in 2011. The AP reports if Kelly were to win the Democratic nomination in Arizona, he'd go up against Republican Martha McSally for John McCain's Senate seat. It could be one of the most contested Senate races of the 2020 election. Not an astronaut, but a robot that played an important role in space is now getting its official farewell this week. Space.com reports NASA's rover Opportunity explored Mars for 15 years, and now NASA deemed its mission complete. 8 months ago, a dust storm hit Mars, and NASA hasn't been able to communicate with the rover since. The golf cart-sized robot landed on Mars in 2004 and was only expected to last 90 days. Well, instead, the rover explored Mars for 15 years. It was able to take 200,000 photos of Mars and even found the first evidence that liquid water has been on the surface there. NASA says thanks to Opportunity, astronauts will eventually walk on Mars. More news still ahead, but a quick break for today's sponsor, BetterHelp. If there is something that interferes with your happiness or your ability to get things done and reach your goals, then it is time to do something about it, to be your best self. And sometimes we need a little help to figure out what is holding us back. Well, BetterHelp is a great way to connect with a professional counselor in a secure and private online environment. Yes, this means you can get a little help on your own time and at your own pace. Everything you share is confidential, and you choose whether you talk with your counselor through text, chat, phone, or video. All you do is fill out a questionnaire to help them assess your needs and get matched with a counselor you'll love. If you're not happy with your counselor for any reason, you can just request a new one, no big deal, and no extra charge. It's convenient and affordable, and now is the time to try because the Newsworthy listeners get 10% off your first month with the discount code NEWSWORTHY. So why not get started? Go to betterhelp.com/newsworthy and see what it can do for you. That's betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Now back to the news. If you drive a Ford pickup, listen up. The company is recalling 1.5 million of their pickup trucks because of transmission issues. We are talking about F-150s from 2011 through 2013 with 6-speed automatic transmissions. Reuters reports some of those trucks may suddenly downshift into first gear, which could cause you to lose control. And actually, Ford says 5 crashes have happened because of this. The company says it'll send out letters about the recall next month, and dealers should be able to fix the problem for free. Google has big plans for the middle of the country. CNBC reports the company is set to spend $13 billion this year on new data centers and offices. They'll be built in Nevada, Ohio, Texas, and Nebraska, and Oklahoma and South Carolina will see current data centers expand. TechCrunch reports Google plans to hire tens of thousands of employees and create 10,000 construction jobs. Some Instagram users have seen drastic drops in the number of followers they have, and Instagram is apologizing, saying it's aware of the bug and it should be fixed by 9 a.m. today. Business Insider says some users lost thousands of followers, and for celebrities like Kylie Jenner and Selena Gomez, they lost millions. Well, if you have kids or are just a Disney fan, then this will be a big deal. Disney has announced Frozen 2 and released the new trailer showing Queen Elsa and all the characters and music are coming back. Frozen 2 hits theaters in November. Another upcoming sequel made headlines this week, Coming to America 2, the sequel to Eddie Murphy's 1988 movie, but it won't premiere until August of next year. You can get a $1.3 million mansion for just under $20. Of course, there's a bit of a catch. You have to win an essay writing contest, and there has to be at least 60,000 entries. Business Insider says a Canadian woman started the contest after she had trouble selling her $1 million lakefront home. With thousands of submissions costing $19 each, she hopes to still earn the listing price while ensuring the home goes to the right person. The essay question you have to answer: why would moving into a lakefront dream home change your life? Good luck. It is Valentine's Day, although a retail report shows only about half of Americans actually plan to celebrate. USA Today reports that number hasn't been that low in 10 years. Regardless, Americans are still spending a lot of money. $20 billion is the estimate for this year's holiday, mostly on candy, flowers, and dinner. But if you want to save money, there are some discounts available today. Like Auntie Anne's has buy one, get one free heart-shaped pretzels. Firehouse Subs is giving away free desserts. And other restaurants like Olive Garden and California Pizza Kitchen have specials as well. But remember, you won't find those conversation candy hearts with the cute sayings, at least not this year. The original maker went out of business, and the new owners did not have time to ensure quality for this Valentine's Day. But they are scheduled to be back next year. And that's it for the main news today, but it's now time for Thing to Know Thursday, where a different expert explains a different thing to know only on Thursdays after the news. This week, since it is Valentine's Day, we are talking about the divorce rate going down, dating trends in 2019, and statistics from a new Match.com study, plus tips for both singles and couples. My guest today is a dating coach who has starred in 2 A+E Networks TV series. She's a contributor for CNN Headline News, BET.com, The Washington Post, Match.com, and more. She's also the host of the weekly podcast Dates and Mates with Damona Hoffman. So here's my conversation with Damona Hoffman. So we have a lot to talk about when it comes to love and relationships in 2019, but I want to start with a statistic that I've seen around a lot lately, which is that the divorce rate is dropping. Can you tell us why that's happening?
Well, I can't tell you exactly why, but I could tell you 2 possible reasons. When we look at the data from 2008 to 2016, there definitely is a fall in divorce rates, an 18% fall. So that could either be because people are waiting later to get married or actually not getting married at all, because when we look at the marriage rates, those are also falling. Or it could be that people are just deciding to stay in relationships and stick it out. But you know who's driving this change? The millennials. They are the only ones that have a less than 50% chance of getting divorced once they get married.
Any particular reason that they are kind of holding off?
Millennials definitely are dating in a different way than baby boomers. A generation ago, people would build their life together. They would meet someone young and then go through the process of having family, having kids, getting the house that they wanted, and then design their life. But now millennials are doing it backwards. They're getting their career, their education off the ground, and then they're establishing themselves and then thinking, oh, I should probably find somebody to share this with.
All right, so for the singles out there who are still dating, are dating apps still becoming more and more popular? I hear about them all the time.
Dating apps are definitely on the rise. When you look back to when my husband and I met, or even just in 2010, 1 in 5 people met through a dating site. And now in 2019, 1 in 3 people are meeting through a dating site or app. So that's telling you that's where the singles are. And by 2020, we're going to have 700 million people online using dating apps.
And are people using apps differently today than they used to?
Well, apps when I was online dating didn't even exist. So even just 5 years ago, dating was completely different. But since Tinder was invented and the swipe apps took over, the speed of dating has increased, but also the number of sites that people use. The average dater is on 3 dating apps at a time. So it's no wonder that a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed and frustrated with dating today because it's hard to keep up with all of those messages.
Okay, so any other dating trends you're seeing this year?
There are a lot of trends that I always tell my Dates and Mates listeners, you got to keep your ear to the ground and know what's happening out there. On the social media front, there's something called Instagram standing.
Oh, no.
And what this is, Erica, I know, it involves curating your Instagram feed with one person in mind so you can attract your crush. And you think, who is doing this? No one is doing this. Well, they surveyed users of Instagram, and more than half of them admitted to tailoring their feed to a particular person. And when we look at 22 to 25-year-olds, it was 69%. So people are definitely doing this. And you've got to look out for cohabitating, sort of like cohabitating, but it's moving in together with the purpose of saving money. We're all working tons. We are in these dual income households. The housing market is still struggling. And that is causing people to think that moving in together is the right thing, whether or not their relationship is at that point.
And what do you think about that as a dating coach?
I think you have to have an understanding before you move in together. You have to have the talk about where the relationship is headed. And I find that sets people up for success in the long term, because if you think you're saving a couple of bucks and your partner thinks that you're on the path towards marriage, you're in for a rocky road a little ways down.
All right, so it's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Final top tips for those who are single and dating and for those already in a relationship.
For those single, I would say, just take the pressure off of yourself. If you don't have a date yet for tonight, it's okay. It's okay. Make this about a Galentine's Day or make this about a self-love date. And then you can always look for a date later down the road when there's not so much pressure on yourself. For those who are already coupled up, make sure that you take the time to acknowledge your partner right now. I get it. I've been with my husband a long time. We have 2 kids. Valentine's Day sometimes feels like a chore, or like one of those other things that we have to do when we already tell each other we love each other all the time. But it is really important to acknowledge your partner this time of year. So don't be afraid to celebrate and do a little something special.
And you can learn more about today's guest at DamonaHoffman.com or check out the links in today's show notes on thenewsworthy.com. I've posted links to all the stories we talked about in this episode. Just go to thenewsworthy.com, click episodes, and find today's date. Thank you so much for listening today. And as always, The Newsworthy is ready for you by 4 a.m. Eastern Time every weekday. So we will chat again tomorrow. Have a great day.